Wow. Mr. 411 and the calculator are back again for crossing the lines. It's been a minute.
Greetings and salutations, Mister 411. Hey, it's funny. I'm gonna just tell people a quick story if that's all right, Mister 411. There was, we weren't able to get together last year, but 2 years ago we had a bracket show, and I'll tell you right now, calculator didn't do well. Calculator was down in the dumps. A lot of his brackets was busted on Thursday morning, Mister 411. That's how bad it was. And calculator kind of went in the hole in everything. And I was talking to myself, it's like, I watched all these games. What did I do wrong? And then, I was talking to some colleagues out there, and Dr. Sachs, friend of the show,
Yeah.
brought the calculator in under his wing. He said, calculator. He said, you go back to the math. Don't let your eyes fool you. He said, do what you do in college football and apply it to college basketball. And I think, why didn't I think? They said my eyes were fooling me for all this time. So, Mr. 401, I took a year off. I wanted to, perfect some of the math that I was going to do. And now that I feel comfortable to go back on the air and to tell people the math behind what we're going to do with these picks. There's going to be some math behind it, Mr. 401. So, and
Right.
also, Mr. 401, if something goes wrong, don't be mad at the calculator. Be mad at the math. Okay, that's all. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hey, so the math is the madness. All right. But hey, that's what we're gonna talk about today, March Madness, the men's bracket. And we do have some games going on right now, but we're going to talk about the overall bracket. So yes, madness has begun. Alabama State is playing right now against St. Francis, and it's a close game. Just like how the committee put it together, they definitely got this one right. St. Francis and Alabama State are neck and neck right now, and then the winner will meet their fate against Auburn.
yeah,
But still.
congratulations. Yeah,
But you know what? One of them can say they had a one
that's
of them
right.
can say both of them can say they had a March Madness appearance,
That is
and
true.
one of them will be able to say they had a March Madness victory.
Hmm.
Uh, so there you have it there. But yeah, it's beautiful, man. Then of course North Carolina, they're playing in the first four in as well, and I know we're gonna talk about that at some point in time
Yeah.
on this episode. All right, calculator, I can't wait, man. Let's get down to it, man. Let's get this credits rolling and come back on this beautiful day of beautiful Tuesday of March the 18th of 2025, crossing the lines with the calculator. I hope you out there, Bo.
Yin yang in this thing. 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 Yin yang in this thing.
Bringing it back, calculator.
Hey, man. I almost thought I was going to pull out my CTL college sheet. I was like, oh, no, we're back. We're doing basketball. I got to get back to it. Sorry, Mr. Ford. I had a flashback.
Oh man, yeah, flashback to all the crossing the line episodes, man. But yes, we are here, man. We're in the building. Make sure that you check us out on TikTok. We're actually gonna have some of the episode posted out there later on Mr. 411 right there on TikTok. Also on Instagram, Mr. 411. Make sure you find us there. Hey, we're in the house with the calculator.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Hey, like I said, that TikTok, I know got blown up when it got shared with the people from Peach County. They love those.
Ooh.
They love Mr. 401 in Peach County on TikTok. So it's a good thing you
Oh
have that
yeah.
running.
Yeah, Mr. 411 love the people too, man. Hey, I love those people back in Peach County, man. And Friday, I can't wait for Friday to come back.
Oh, That's another thing. I think I was smelling French fries when you're paying over. Yeah, man, am I about to? Do I got to go and do concession stand duty already?
Oh
I
my
was just on my
goodness.
vacation.
But yeah, man. Hey, but March Madness, man. Everybody wants to get their brackets together, and what better person to get the advice from than us, and especially with the calculator here on Crossing the Lines. Moneyline is going to be involved, so
Mhm.
pay attention to that. And then, like calculator said earlier, right before we got this started, the math, and I'm interested to see how the math is going to work too. And then if you have anything that you want to Mr. 41 to ask calculator, make sure that you share that with me. But calculator, I'm gonna hand this over to you. Give us your overview, and then
Okay.
we're gonna go
So,
on this fantastic ride with
so
you with the bracket.
as you were watching the bracket selection show, that something happened that never happened before. And Mr. 41, I'm going to give a little shout out to you because you said that you were calling this roughly about 8 years ago. You said, calculator. He said the SEC, they're doing something in basketball. They're hiring these good coaches. And he
Yep.
said, what follows good coaches? Good recruiting. What follows that? Winning. And now, what happened? I think it was a climax. It all happened. 14
Four.
teams. That's not a misprint. It obliterated the record for most teams in the tournament. What's even more amazing, uh, two top one seeds and two seeds. I mean that is just amazing. That and a lot of people say, "Oh, SEC is overrated." SEC, folks, look at what the SEC did non-conference when they had what the SEC, ACC Duke was the only team that beat an SEC team in the ACC SEC matchup this year. SEC, Texas A&M went on the road and beat a top 10 Purdue.
Right.
Just but normal any out of so they bolstered their non-conference win totals, and then it was just a bloodbath when they paid. But you want to talk about battle tested? They were saying, hey, this SEC tournament that they had to play coming up to this, that was going to be harder than a regular NCAA tournament because no matter who you play, you're playing a top 10. At least in the NCAA tournament, you might have a first round St. Peters or Bryant or something like that. You didn't get no break in the SEC. I mean, it's crazy when a team like South Carolina might have that was considered a cupcake in the SEC. However, if you looked at their rankings, they'd have been top 5 in the ACC. They'd have been top
That's
5 in
crazy.
the Big East. If you look at their underlying metrics. So it was never a cupcake in the SEC. These guys are battle tested. Now, they didn't do no favors to Florida, and because I'm going to talk. If you look at the eye test overall, Florida, in my opinion, is the best looking team. Auburn has the best statistical rankings for what they did throughout the year. But if you like I said, the eye test, but again, I'm not going to go by the eye test. Like I said, Florida looks like the best team. Florida beat Auburn most recently when they played. But what they did with Florida was the last number 4 seed. And this is where I finally like it. Because remember, we talked about last year, UConn being the number 1 overall seed, but they got dealt probably the hardest bracket
Yes.
in the thing. It really didn't work out that way because a lot of the lower seeds were beating those good teams in this bracket. So, UConn kind of had a favor because even the bottom half heavy team, I mean, they were just beating the good teams. Auburn finally, the number 1 overall seed, got, in my opinion, the weakest bracket. And what do you mean by that? It's like number 2 seed in that bracket with Auburn. Yeah, Michigan State. They weren't even top 25 at the beginning of the year, Mr. 4-1. They had an incredible year. Don't get me wrong. Deserved based on what they did, number 2. But you take Richardson out of the lineup, a bunch of Jags, in my opinion.
Hmm.
They got a man on the sideline, knows what he's doing. You never, bet against him. But from a pure talent standpoint, that's going to catch up to you. Iowa State lost one game in the first so many games. That one game was against Auburn during the year. But then they started getting the injury bug. And now their best offensive player, Gilbert, is out for the tournament. So the number 3 seed banged up in that tournament. And then you got Texas A&M. Hey, they're the 4 seed, but Texas A&M, as far as 4 seeds go, hard they are offensively challenged, to say the least, when it comes to scoring. So when you look at the top heavy teams, the South region, Auburn's, in my opinion, has got the cakewalk this year, But then you look at Florida, again, the best team I've seen on the eye test. They got a horrendous, but hey, that's what you get when you're the number 4 overall seed. I mean, just look at they got, in my opinion, St. John's, number 2, doesn't look good by the metrics, but those jokers, this team is exactly like Houston won last year. Defense, rebounding. They will shoot 20% from threes, and they don't care because they got a guy, they got guys in there that'll just rebound the ball. So in my opinion, one of the better top 2 seeds, not SEC 2 seeds, what I'm saying, but really good too. But in my opinion, the best number 3 seed, Texas Tech. That team, they actually look like Houston last year, but better offense. This looks like last year's Houston team, defense, rebounding, but they can score. So, but the good thing is, Florida can sit back and say, "Oh, I don't have to play Texas Tech and St. John's. They're going to have to meet each other before they meet us." So that's something. But just to get to chance to meet either Texas Tech or St. John's, get this gauntlet. Florida's got to beat either the winner of UConn, 2-time champs. Even if they play UConn and beat them, then they got to play Maryland, which, in my opinion, starter for starter, the best starting 5 from 1 to 5 as a team. But Maryland, again, foul trouble could put them out. They have no depth, but 1 through 5 can compete with anybody, and Florida has to get through that gauntlet. And I think that's one of the things that's going to catch up. And I think, a little preview, Florida's not in the calculators, national championship. For another reason is a lot of people are picking Florida because they see what the calculator sees. They're betting with their eyes and not with the numbers. So,
wow.
2 of the previews, Duke, they are the overwhelming favorite in their region, and to win it all. If you look at, I think they're right now 28%, which is high when you have such what I consider a bunch of good teams, kind of high. But what this and Mr. 4-1, this team reminds me a lot like one of those John Calipari Kentucky young teams. Remember Townsend and stuff? Everybody said, "Oh, they got 5 freshmen," and
yeah,
all they did was win a championship. So yeah, you Calipari showed. So yeah, I mean they got 3 NBA lottery picks, including the number 1 overall pick in Flag. And look, they just won the ACC tournament with Flag not even playing in those last 2 games. It made it look easy. I mean, those guys, you want to talk, they will always have probably the best player in the team. And then, they're not playing a team like Auburn, the number 2 and 3 after that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Duke is absolutely loaded. But again, a little foreshadowing. Calculator can't pick Duke because I gotta zig when everybody's zagging and so forth. And the numbers will support me when I do my picks. Because preview folks, we are doing this podcast if you were in a big pool. And calculator, yours truly, I play in a pool with over 900 entrants, so I have to go a little bit deeper because calculator wants the money, and if I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss big. But you know what? If I hit, all it takes, calculator had one. But hey, I still remember that time I picked Carmelo Anthony in the Syracuse Orange when nobody was picking him, Mr. 411, and they brought home, matter of fact, I'm still collecting interest because I banked that into a money market account, and I'm going to touch it till retirement. So that's what I did, so I don't touch it. But yeah, that's what you do. You gotta just pick some of those things, and then the last one. Houston, hey, there's something about Houston. They're always good, but and great coaching. Love Kevin Sampson, but something about them in March Madness. And how did they reward Houston's great season? They're going to give them most likely Gonzaga in the second round. It's like what?
Crazy.
That's right. Well, congratulations for winning the Big East. All you got to do. And we'll talk about the Ken Palm ratings in a little bit, but. Gonzaga is top 10 regardless of it. As far as underlying metrics, Gonzaga's top 10 team which is just crazy to think about that you have a top 10 team in metrics and only get a number 8 seed for your efforts. So yeah, that's Houston's going to have it tough because even if they get Gonzaga, they're still going to have to wind up playing a team like Tennessee to get to the Final Four. So Houston's got a tough road as well. But that's why they're the number 3 overall seed. You're not going to have as easy a path as an Auburn or a Duke if you're ranked like that. So.
Well, before we dive into the brackets calculator, and obviously we're going to follow your live bracket that you're working. Would you like for me to throw a couple of questions out there for you?
Absolutely, yeah. Fire them away.
Okay. All right. So let's start off with the big one, which is University of North Carolina. Okay. University. We gotta talk about we gotta talk about UNC right here. We're not talking about Bill Belichick right now. We're not gonna get into Bill Belichick and what he's got going on, but we're gonna go with the Carolina the basketball team here. They're in the tournament, and there's a lot of uproar about this. So fair or foul?
Well,
University of North Carolina in this tournament.
Yeah, Mr. Foreman, tell me if you heard this before. They played 12 quad 1 teams and got 1 win. Tell me if you heard that. That's all I've heard. Let me tell you something. You don't look at whether they're in or out as fair or foul. You look at who they went over. West Virginia. I'm sorry, West Virginia 10-10 in the Big East. I'm sorry, the Big 12. That's not good enough. All right. They went over Indiana. Indiana barely 500 in the Big Ten and a down Big Ten, in my opinion, this year. Boise State. Sorry, folks. The WAC or the Mountain West has had plenty of chances to get people in. If you are not San Diego State, you're usually bounced in the first round. So they've had history against Boise State getting into the. So I like UNC getting in. Oh yeah, there's all this roaring about UNC. UNC is actually favored tonight against San Diego State. So why isn't there an uproar over San Diego State getting in? So they got one of the premier point guards in the league. They had trouble. A lot of it was early on, and the only losses they had down the stretch was to Duke, and we already talked about Duke and how great they are. So I'm sorry, we'll look at a bracket as we're filling it out, but I'm telling you, teams that come in as a number 11 seed as a play-in. Get ready, because I think there was a team out of the ACC last year that was a number 11 seed, Mr. 4-1, named NC State, and just happened to make it all the way to the Final Four. Now, granted, They played their way in because they won the ACC tournament, but then again, they showed ACC they play big boy ball. So these big quad 1 teams, if they get on a roll, and you have a guy named RJ Davis, you got a chance.
All right. Okay, so there it is. So calculator thinks it's cool. And you know what? It kind of feels like this calculator. If you're out in the jungle, just imagine yourself out in Africa right now in the jungle.
Yeah.
And you're being chased by a lion. All you have to do is outrun the gazelle, you know what I'm saying? Whoever
right.
you just don't want to be the one to get caught. And that's how it feels like with USC, based on what you're telling me here. The other teams that didn't get in, they were just a little bit better they were at least better than those teams. So UNC, they're in, by survival. So hey, we'll see what happens. And then VCU, right? When they come out, they come out the 11th slot one time. I think they did it back in the day with Shaka Smart.
Shaka Smart. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a great team too.
Yeah.
They played. They didn't have any individual stars that I can remember, but they played great team ball. Good.
Very good. All right, very good. And I have one more for you, and then you can do your thing with the brackets. The Battle of the Bulldogs, right? You talked about Gonzaga.
Yeah.
I heard you mention them. So let's go ahead and get that question off the table, because there's a lot of fans that are in this particular area. So the Battle of the Bulldogs, Gonzaga and UGA, 8-9 matchup. You hinted already towards that seeding of the 8 seed for Gonzaga. But what is your thoughts on Gonzaga and UGA?
Well, congratulations to the Bulldogs. They survived the gauntlet known as the SEC. They beat some good teams along the way, had some good road wins along the way. However, the underlying metrics does not favor the Georgia Bulldogs against the Gonzaga Bulldogs in this particular setup. I mentioned one thing we're going to be I've been following with math is KenPom ratings, because what KenPom ratings is, it takes metrics, strength of schedule. It takes a lot of different factors in and mushes them together. And you need that to get when you have teams that play in different conferences. For example, Zags does not have they're not in a top tier conference, so to speak, where game in, game out conference. But what helps Gonzaga out is they did play a lot of good teams out of conference to get them battle tested. And that's, and they performed somewhat well. Now, this ain't your typical favored Zags team where they do have a superstar point guard, which is going to help them in there, but they don't have that big inside presence that they usually have. So that's what they're missing. But top 10 offensive rating, top 20 defensive rating, and I think that is what will carry them in the tournament. Personally, I think since I was surprised they got a number 8 seed, to tell you the truth. I had them on the 6-7 line after they beat St. Mary's when they played a third time and beat them for the tournament win. But they gave them the 8 seed, and now they get Houston. So that's what's going to be interesting. But hey, congrats to the Georgia Bulldogs. Very impressed that they played as well as they did, beat some good, had a lot of quad one, especially at home. They were very formidable at home. And then again had a couple of good late road wins, which boosted up their rankings that got them in the tournament. So I'm just proud of the Bulldogs that they did what they did to make the tournament in what is an historically good conference this year.
Yeah, maybe the conference helped a lot.
Yeah, because every week you're playing a quad one team, pretty much. So even a loss is not considered a bad loss, because it's against the top team. But every win is a good win because it's a top 25 team. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You're gonna play good teams every time, but every time you get a win, that just helps you that much more.
All right. Okay. All right. It's like lifting weights. All right. So there we go. All right. So calculator, I'm gonna hand this back to you. Let's break down this bracket. Do you need anything pulled up?
So yes, I shared the screen with the producers because what we're going to do is we're going to follow a ranking, and when I do KenPom rankings, like I said, I already explained what a KenPom ranking is. But another term I want to use on why I'm picking thing, it's I like to leverage the situation. We talk about probability and stuff like that. So what I do is if I see a bunch of people going one way, and then I'll have to go another way, and I'll a thing that was told to me is you look at it like this. Okay, say, because this is what's good about March Madness. Okay, you got these teams. And we only do this, and the reason we're doing this today rather than when the brackets come out, because we like to get a feel for what a lot of people are doing already. So say you're flipping a coin, right? It's 50-50. Well, if you know ahead of time that 80% of people are going to pick heads, well, what are you going to pick, Mr. 411?
Tails.
Tails, yeah. Because it's a 50-50 shot, but after I get done with that 80%, I'm only going against 20 more people. So so that's what I'm trying to do. They're going to it's known as game theory is the term I'll probably be using when we are going to pick game theory, because I want to be, if there's a 50-50 team playing where I think teams are pretty much even, I want to be on the side going against the masses, because this is where I can differentiate from everybody else. Now, yes, I'm going to take it even further. Now, on a family pool or an office pool, like 20 people, you can pick who you think is going to win, best rating. You don't have to worry about the game theory. But calculator, I play in 900 person pools. So because I want more bang for buck, I feel I can research as much as the next person. So I want a bigger return on my investment and the investment being me putting in the work on the research. But that's what I'm going to do. So if I come to a park and say, but this team is better on the palm ratings, but they're close. So if I see if it's 50, even if it's 55, 45, if 60% are picking the 55, there's a reason for that. It's because they're probably the better team. but I think it's close enough to where I can go on the other side of the term and still have a chance and try and pick up some cheap points, so to speak. So that's what, if I go for the thing, I will explain my reasoning for going against the masses. So do you understand that pretty well, Mr. 4-1?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you.
All right.
Zig.
That's right. So first one, easy. Auburn, one of the best Ken Palm ratings. I mean, this team lost 3 of their last 5 games, and they still remain the number 1 overall seed even with all those losses because the team is just solid. They got the second best player in college basketball in Broom. So as long as he's healthy, he's been banged up on and off, but they won't need him till the second weekend anyways, in my opinion. So they might just limit his minutes, which they should, but he'll be rare. I mean, they won't even need him for this because I think Alabama State wins today. But even if it's St. Peter's or whatever, Auburn will handle them. Okay, Louisville Creighton. Creighton is, this is one of those toss-up games, but I'm not going to go to game theory on this one. I'm not going to do because I'm going home court advantage. What do you say? Hey, what is Louisville? No, they're not playing at Louisville. They're playing Lexington, which is right down the road from Louisville. So then I have a feeling a lot of Louisville Cardinal fans will be at this game. So this is a pseudo home game for the Cardinals. So that I'm going to, even though I love the Creighton Blue Jays, and I know Dr. Sachs will be watching that Louisville Creighton Blues with his Blue Jays hat on because, Dr. Sachs is one of those closet Blue Jay fans. He loves Creighton. He loves Kalbrenner. He loves Ashworth, who's been that point guard for the last 8 years, it seems like, at Creighton. But then, hey, the man shoots, 93% from the free throw line. So anytime Creighton has a lead late, they get the man to him and he kneels it out. But no, I'm going with the home team in Louisville in this one. Okay, first upset, folks. We always hear 12-5. Hey, the 12-5 really hadn't materialized as much as it has in the past. But folks, Michigan got hosed. I know I didn't talk about it because we don't have 2 hours, Mr. 4-1. But how in the world do you get you win the Big Ten championship? You beat. And I think it's like 6 out of the last 7 games you win. The 2 losses are against Michigan State, who's the number 2 seed, mind you,
Right.
which is a pretty good team. But you're beating Purdue. You're beating Maryland. I mean, you went through the gauntlet of the Big Ten, win 4 games in a row. The guys, Michigan, hey, we won the Big Ten tournament. You got the 5 seed. Oh, 5 seed's good. Oh, you just happen to play the best mid-major team
In the
country. I got 50, folks. UC San Diego. A lot of people say, well, folks, they were good even before this year, but they transferred from Division II, and you have to sit out those 4 years before you're even eligible for the NCAA tournament. They were killing teams back in the day. So they're coming in, folks. It's going to be it's one of those mismatches because Michigan got 2 7-footers. They got the coach who knows how to coach because if people remember, he was the Florida Atlantic coach for back in their runs in the NCAA tournament these couple years, and he brought one of the Florida Atlantic 7-footers with him on the transfer from Russia, Galvin. So they got size, but UC San Diego don't care because what UC San Diego does, they turn the ball over on teams. And what is Michigan's weakness? Turning the ball over. They don't have your now. Hey, Michigan won the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament. If you saw it, 2.8 seconds, guy runs down the floor, shoots the ball at the end, and scores at the end of the thing to beat Maryland. Great. But he's typically for a full game, he's going to turn the ball over. He's not your prototypical point guard. I have this as like a 26-6 turnover differential, Mr. 4-1. And when you had that many possessions and UC San Diego just scores often, I mean, and Michigan, the public is backing them at a 65% rate. Folks, the point spread is only 2.5. So Vegas is saying this is good. So hey, game theory, folks, 65%. We're in a 3-point spread. This is where you get your 12 seed. I'm going with the Titans. They can shoot the 3. The bigs for Michigan are great, but if you have to spread them out and take them out of the box, Mister 4-1, that's going to take away that advantage. So because you can't pack it in on San Diego because they can shoot from outside. So you got great spacing on a team that takes care of the ball, but takes the ball away. Oh, yeah. Another fact, you see San Diego not only beats team, but they cover against team. And that's why they're so strong analytically as well. Because I heard a little saying earlier, yeah, good teams win, great teams cover. And folks, this is one of the better mid-major teams we've seen in the past 5-6 years. So yeah, San Diego. Sorry, Michigan. I love Michigan as much as the next person, but this was just a terrible matchup. Not just for playing a good team, but a team that where their strength is their weakness. And Mr. 4-1, we say that on CT all the time in college football. We love to take teams that is a matchup problem for another team, even if the other team, Michigan's got more talent. Michigan's got more battle tested, so to speak, with their schedule. But UC San Diego is just a really, really good team. So that's why this is one of my game theory picks, Mr. 4-1. I'm going against the public, and I'm going with UC San Diego in this.
Yeah,
Right.
it feels like that. It feels like that's where it's going to go, man. And then they spread the court. They shoot threes. It just feels like the right type of matchup. When like you said, in a single game elimination situation, turnovers are going to be key. So if Michigan
Yep.
turn that ball over left to right, you can lose that one game despite having 7-footers on your roster, especially with the three ball where it can neutralize the game. So yeah, I'm with you on this one, man. I actually like this San Diego pick. And I kind of went bonkers on my other sheet, so I want to see if it matches up with yours later on.
Okay. Okay. Oh, and you know, another trendy pick. People are starting to pick Yale, but I'll tell you this about Yale. Yale, great story. If people remember, this was their seeding last year. They had to play Auburn, who was the number 4 seed, and it was a shocker. Yeah. And Yale was hitting threes left and right. And listen, I know Texas A&M. I said it in the beginning. They have problems shooting, but what helps their bad shooting out is their rebounding. And I just think it will wear on Yale. Hey, Yale could get hot, but I think Yale actually will probably have the lead at halftime. But I think Texas A&M they'll have a solid point guard that'll be able to keep them in the game. So to what? And I think their offensive rebound is just going to eventually wear down Yale because Yale's going to have, in my opinion, going to have to shoot 70%, and I don't see them shooting 70% against Texas A&M, also a solid defense. So yeah, a lot of people are picking Yale, but not me. I'm going to go with Texas A&M. I'm going with the defense. I'm going with the rebounding. I just love teams that play good, hard-nosed defense, and also a coach that's been there, Buzz Williams, tough, great coach. So yeah, I like Texas A&M in this one.
Okay.
So, all right, next one, and this one's another SEC team. But hey, we talked about teams. I think a playing game for a number 11 seed is very helpful. It gets you get the juices flowing, you get the sweat rolling, and you can be somewhat hot. And I have North Carolina winning tonight, and I think they're going to take that momentum. And folks, I'm picking another one. A lot of people are picking Ole Miss, but I think this is going to be, even if UNC wins, I have them as a possibly a 3.5 point underdog to Ole Miss. Ole Miss is very up and down, with the exception of on the road. They are more down than up when they're on the road. So these are road games, and I think that's going to come back. And I think the UNC having the game. So I'm picking UNC to win that second game. So I even though Ole Miss is the higher seed, I'm going with a game theory pick on this one. This one, hey, I love Lipscomb. A lot of people don't know where that, folks. That's in Tennessee. They have they're known as the Bisons with an S. I didn't know Bisons could be plural with an S.
Yeah, I thought Bison. Okay.
I thought Bison was plural by itself, but it wasn't. But the talent gap will go in it. It'll affect them later on, but it won't affect them in this game. Iowa State's best scorer, Gilbert, is out for the tournament. That's going to come back to haunt them later on. It's not going to hurt them in the first round. The talent gap is just too much to overcome for Lipscomb to overhand. Okay, there's another one. We got Cam Jones, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that can carry Marquette at times. But, folks, he's not going to carry him because New Mexico has depth. They got size. They have a point guard that can match Cam Jones. Hey, I love Cam Jones, like Shaka Smart. I love all that, but this is not the Marquette of last year. They lost two top tier scorers. I think Cam Jones just got, if you look, kind of got wore down at the end of the year, and folks, I can't get that DePaul game that they barely won in overtime against a below average DePaul team. New Mexico's much better than that. And New Mexico, they like beating top 25 Ken Palm teams, so they can compete against the market. I think the Mountain West is going to try to race some of those demons this year, and I think New Mexico's got the skill set, got the talent. So hey, I'm going. A lot of people are picking Marquette. A lot of people got Marquette going to the Elite Eight because of the banged up brackets. I have them losing in the first round, Mr. 411. I'm going with New Mexico on this one. Yeah, folks, I sometimes you got to go against the grain, and I'm just finding these openings just because of how I feel that this is going. So I'm not saying this. Again, the math is saying this is a close game. If it's a close game, I'm going the other way against the grain just because the math says I should. Oh, and this one, Michigan State, Bryant. Don't think too much about that. So we'll stay, and we'll just finish up the region, Mr. Foreman, while we're going there. Get to the Final Four. So we'll finish out the region. Again, Louisville, their second game, it's in Lexington. Again, an advantage, but Auburn still too much, in my opinion. Still, Broome will prove to be too much for Louisville. Texas A&M, San Diego, folks. I love San Diego, and when we talk about A&M struggling from the line, I'm going San Diego, folks.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
Folks, it's too close with the metrics to, hey, a lot of people. And if San Diego gets in the first round, we're not going to hurt that much because I got surprises on the other round. But if San Diego hits, oh, man, you got to go with it. So, yeah, I'm not scared of getting that 12 seed just because, again, this team is really, really good for a mid-major team. They check a lot of boxes. Now, yeah, they only played one quad one team this year. Well, guess what? They won and they covered against that quad one team. So they played with big boys and they covered. Again, good teams win, great teams cover. UC San Diego, the biggest covering college football team this year. So I'm going with it. Hey, I sometimes scared. Now, yes, UNC. I have them winning. If San Diego State wins, I might have to go back and change this, Mr. 411. But again, Iowa State, still too much. Even without Gilbert, they still have R.J. Davis. If they play UNC, will be the best player on field. Iowa State, even with Gilbert out, has the next three best players on the team. So again, I got to go with Iowa State just for the mere fact. Now, I do say this: if Ole Miss plays Iowa State, I think Ole Miss wins. The only thing is I don't like the Ole Miss matchup against UNC. So that's why UNC beats Ole Miss, but then I have Iowa State advancing because I like their matchup better against UNC. And then I got to, New Mexico, great story. You were able to shut down Cam Jones, but Michigan State has Tom Izzo, so you can't shut down what Tom Izzo has for you, in my opinion. So I got to go Michigan State. So we got it. We got the 2-3, but we have the 112. That's when the Cinderella shoes. Hey, we say chalk. You go with the upsets early, but the chalk later. That's why I got Auburn going. Handling their business because they do have the goods to beat a team like San Diego. They won't turn the ball over. They have the point guard. They have 2 point guards that can take the care of the ball against a team like San Diego. And San Diego would have no answer for a guy like Broome on Auburn's team as well. So that's just a mismatch all around. So that's why I have Auburn going. And then this one, this is where Gilbert, the injury catch up. Hey, a healthy Iowa State team beats Michigan State. Michigan State, they're more healthy than Iowa State. Even though Michigan State, Iowa State has the better talent, they're missing a lot of that talent. A Gilbert-led Iowa State, Michigan State, but a Gilbert-less Iowa State loses to Michigan State. So, yeah, it ends up chalk at the end, Mr. 4-1. Hey, UC San Diego made a good run, but, hey, I like that. And then, of course, going to the Final Four, again, Auburn, Michigan State, that's where, again, Michigan State will have no answer for Broome and company on Auburn's side. So that's why I have Auburn going to the Final Four out of the South region. And that, hey, And this is where the number one overall seed helps. They had a week 3 seed, they had a week 2 seed, they had a physical but challenging offensive challenged 4 seed, and even though Michigan's great 5 seed, Michigan don't know if they can make it past that 12. That I mean, one of the best 12 seeds in the tournament. But Auburn gets rewarded for being the number one overall seed.
All right. Hey, man, I'm good with that bracket.
Okay.
I love it.
All right, so we'll go to the South bracket, folks. We said eye test. We're not going to talk too much about Florida in the first round. Okay, here's another game theory, Mr. 4-1. Everybody loves UConn, Mr. 4-1. Everybody loves UConn. They won 2 games in a row, or 2 championships in a row. They said, hey, folks, this isn't UConn of last year. And if you don't believe me, I'll pull up the KenPom ratings for you guys to say I'm not just making this up. UConn, right? They are all the way 35th, right?
Wow. Okay.
That's pretty low. Now, they're Oklahoma, 38th. But look, they're close. And if you have people picking UConn at a 65% clip, again, we're backing heads on this one, Mr. 4-1. So this is where we go back to our game theory. I'm picking Oklahoma. Hey, in my heart, Mr. 4-1, I think UConn's the better team. I think UConn's going to win the game. But I'm going to let math dictate this decision, Mr. 4-1. Even though hey, when they say tails never fails, you know you can go and pick heads if everybody's going to pick that. So that's when I'm going. This is strictly math. Again, folks, don't come at me and say calculator. We knew UConn was going to win. I understand that, but hey, folks, we're having them. They're both going to UConn and Oklahoma are both going to lose to Florida, in my opinion. So it don't matter who you pick. But I want some cheap points. I'm going to go and try and pick up some cheap points. So that's why I'm doing my game theory pick and going with Oklahoma on here. Oh, Mr. 4-1. Folks, me and Mr. 4-1 actually had a back and forth on Memphis, Colorado State. We had a discussion on
Yes.
It's like Memphis, number 5 seed. You got Penny Hardaway. You got Haggerty. You got all the. I mean, they won their conference rather easily. Beat UConn early on in the Maui Invitational. Have some good big wins. Folks, Vegas has Colorado State favored. So
I mean, go figure.
So Vegas is doing something, but folks, Colorado's team is one of the hottest teams. We talked about teams that cover. Ever since they got their full starting alignment back 9 games ago, 11 games ago, 11-0, 10-1 against the spread. Folks, we talk about good teams win, great teams cover. Colorado State's not only winning, they're covering. And the Mountain West is one of the better teams. I mean, you could say Mountain West is up with the Big East this year as far as the amount of teams that got in and how they performed on the year. Hey, Colorado State is the second hottest team behind UC San Diego as far as heat check. Colorado State can make threes, but the key is, and I'm going to pull over here to show you what I'm talking about on Memphis. The one thing that worries me about Memphis is their second best player, Tyrese Hunter. The reason I pulled it over there is I wanted to pull it up for you folks. Tyrese Hunter was in a boot after the championship game. Folks, a healthy Memphis team, I like it. Non-healthy Haggerty cannot. Hey, I compared Haggerty to the Memphis Derrick Rose. The guy is amazing. Great point guard. Hey, he was awful in that UAB game because he wasn't hitting shots, but all he did was go like 12 for 12 from the free throw line. So he was creating fouls when he was in a slump, had trouble missing. He kept shooting, kept getting fouled, and he started missing, and that's what won him the championship. But yeah, I think it's if I'm Memphis, I hate to have such a good season and have to play such another hot team. So hey, another 12-5 matchup where I think this 12 wins, not because it's a 12-5, but because this 12 seed is a hot team. Two of the hottest teams in college football are on the 12 line, and I know these 5 seeds that drew them. Not that happy. Maryland, Grand Canyon. Hey, Grand Canyon was a great story last year. Came in, gave Alabama, who went to the Final Four, all they could. The overtime had Grand Canyon, but they just didn't have it. One thing I love about Grand Canyon is one of the colleges. They don't lie to you. All right, Grand Canyon won't lie to you. They're for profit. They're out there. They want to make money. They're not going to lie to you. We're out here to make a profit, and this money we get, we don't even have a football program. They make a lot of their money out of basketball, and so they poured into the basketball program. They got that hyphenated guy, Foster Campbell, whatever, 6'9" as a point guard. The guy is a mismatch nightmare. However, I said it before. I'll say it again. Maryland, 1 through 5, the best starting lineup. Early on, again, this could catch up with Maryland in the end. But early on, Maryland's just going to be too talented. And I've seen 2 Maryland games, and I'm not going to let my eyes deceive me to this point. But there were 2 games. Michigan State beat Maryland on like a half-court shot in a regular game. Michigan State had to get that to win. Michigan in the Maryland controlled that whole game, and then that guy runs down the court with 2.8 seconds and shoots the beat. Maryland has some heart, but I don't think this was going to be close. Maryland just too talented 1 through 5 for Grand Canyon, so got to go with Maryland. Okay, Drake. I think they lost 3 games this year. They call him the Drake, but I'm sorry. This is a lot of people think. But the Kent Palm ratings in this don't really have it close. I mean, you have Missouri at Missouri got here. I think I had to pass them up. Oh, Missouri. Okay, top 20. I mean that's number 15 overall. So that's a pretty sizable discrepancy because I was looking at the Drake and I said, okay, Drake, how's Drake? And I said, oh man, Drake's pretty far. 58. Okay. Kim Palm says, I'm not zigging and zagging. I'm going with the team that is very much higher ranking in the Kim Palm. So, you don't need to go game theory on this one. Go with Missouri because they are the far superior team metrics-wise. Texas Tech, one of the best teams in the NCAA, full-rounded team. Again, they are Houston last year, except they have a point guard that can score. Shed was a great point guard overall for Houston, but he was offensively challenged. Texas Tech's got a point guard that can score and score often, and their defense is second to none. So I really like Texas Tech to beat UC, and that's going to help them later on. And we'll get that. Kansas, we got Bill Self. We got John. Is that made for TV? Wouldn't you like this as a celebrity boxing match, Mr. 411?
Yes,
John
sir.
Cal, Reclamation Project, he's got those. There we go. John Calipari's got those 3 Kentucky transfers that played for him, got him over the hump. But Bill Self, I got to go just because I think Bill Self will make it right. And Kent Palm wise, Kansas, they're up there as well. With Kansas, in the 23.26, and then you got Arkansas. They're fairly down here. Kent Palm says you got to go with Kansas on that. St. John's, St. John's, I love St. John's. Not gonna. Omaha, in my opinion, is one of the weakest 15 seeds I can remember in a long time. So they shouldn't have won their tournament, but they did, and they get rewarded with St. John's. Florida, Oklahoma, again, Florida just too talented. Oklahoma, they played. Florida handled Oklahoma during the tournament, so I like Florida. Colorado State, Maryland. Colorado State, this is where it comes to an end because Colorado State, even though they're hot, again, I like that Maryland starting 5 very much this year. This one's going to chalk, Mr. Foreman. I warn you right now because I love Texas Tech to keep going, keep their momentum. I think they should have beat Arizona in the Big 12. Some weird things happened in that game. Texas Tech's legit. By the way, Texas Tech can play on the road. They beat Houston at Houston earlier this year in an overtime thrill. It was a great game. And Kansas and St. John's, love St. John's to keep going. Bill Self's thing. This is all chalk in this one. Florida, again, they're the best team on paper, so I'm going to keep Florida going. Texas Tech, St. John's, this is where we're going to zag. A lot of people like St. John's. Metrics-wise, you go to Kim Palm. Kim Palm loves Texas Tech. They got them number 7, top 10 team. St. John's number 11. So I'm just going to go pure Kim Palm's rating, even with people taking the higher seed. And this one, I got Florida over Texas Tech. No, I'm sorry. So if you see the Kim Palm ratings, they're within a coin flip. Game theory, folks. This is my big thing. This is where you can win your things. A lot of people aren't going with Texas Tech. A lot of people think Texas Tech early on. So go with we're gonna zig. We're gonna go Ken Palm ratings. We're gonna ride the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Go for it, Mr. 411.
Really? Texas
Yeah,
Tech over UF. Okay. All right.
yeah.
And a lot of times in these tournaments, right, you have a team that gets to that Final Four, and it's one of those teams that
You don't
you
expect.
didn't have them going that far, right?
Yeah,
And Texas Tech looks like the way this bracket is falling, they would be that team. Like
yeah.
you would think, okay, they'll get a game or two, but all the way to the Final Four, we have those teams that show up like that
And
from
Mr.
time to
41, and
time.
people don't forget, Texas Tech won some people tournaments a couple years ago when they made it all the way to the finals. I think that's the year they lost to Virginia in the finals. A lot of people were fading Texas Tech, and Texas Tech rode their defense. Hey, this Texas Tech team's better than that Texas Tech team, in my opinion.
All right. Okay. So right now on one side of the bracket for the Final Four, you have Auburn and Texas Tech. All right. So I'll let you carry on.
Oh, but hey, Mr. 41, can you go to a commercial break real quick? I got a call in Omaha.
Oh, no problem at all. We'll be right back,
All right,
calculator. All
I'll be
right,
right
we're
back.
gonna go ahead and go to commercial break, and we'll be back, people, with the second half of the bracket.
Thank you.
Imagine a fulfilling career as an orthodontic assistant that is fast, affordable, and convenient, that provides the freedom you desire. Welcome to the School of Orthodontic Assisting. As Georgia's only in-person, hands-on education center for orthodontic assisting with over 40 years combined experience, we understand the constant demand for experienced orthodontic assistants. By not taking the steps to gain the necessary education and hands-on experience, you risk missing out on a life-changing opportunity and the chance to secure a financially stable future.
That's why we created the School of Orthodontic Assisting. Our 8-week comprehensive program is designed to fast-track your career, equipping you with the skills and knowledge needed to become a highly skilled orthodontic assistant.
Once you graduate, you will have the opportunity to enjoy a fulfilling career as an X-ray certified orthodontic assistant. If you're worried about fitting the program into your busy schedule, we've made it easy for you. Once accepted, you simply pick the dates that work best for you, and we'll take care of the rest. Enrollment is limited, so don't miss out on the opportunity to transform your life and career. Act now and secure your spot in our next class.
Visit our website at gasoa.net to learn more about our program and to apply. If you're already on the website, click the Apply Now button to start your enrollment process. It's time to stop searching and start building a successful career in orthodontics. Take control of your future by enrolling in the School of Orthodontic Assisting today and experience the hope and confidence that comes with pursuing your dream career.
We're back, Mr. 411. Hey, I love that commercial, and the reason I said that is because I do have a sister in the orthodontics field. Well, she's not orthodontic; she's a hygienist, but in that type area, folks. If you can get with the right dentist or the right surgeon, you can almost set your own schedule. So something like that is very beneficial to have as a skill. I do think, and I can see it firsthand with my sister.
That's right. So the School of Orthodontics and Assistant, 2959 Georgia Highway 154, Building C, Suite A, Noonan, Georgia. And check them out. You can give them a call at 678-876-4474 or info@gasoa.net.
Great read, Mr. 411. Love it. I think Mr. 411 was getting some lessons from Dr. Sachs on how to do an advertisement read. Good job.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's do it, calculator.
All right,
We got
hey.
another half. We got another half of a bracket to take care of. And by the way, quick update too. Alabama State is down 47-42 to St. Francis. There's 14:52 remaining in the second half. It's going to be a nail biter to
Nail
the
biter. Hey, folks, and folks, don't worry. We'll get done in plenty of time for you guys to tune into the North Carolina game, because I know a lot of people are going to be following that, especially if they take the calculator's advice and ride North Carolina to at least the round, at least past well, they're in the first round, second, whatever it is, round of 32, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, hey, we're not going to talk much about Duke. Duke is we talked about him, one of the best talent wise over now. Talent wise over, not experience, of course, but hey,
Hmm.
John Calipari showed it with the Kentucky boys. You don't if you have sometimes talent can trump experience. So but we'll see if it will in this bracket. But yeah, I got to go with Duke in this one. Mississippi State, Baylor. Mississippi State's just a mess. Mississippi State will have the edge at the point guard situation. But when I look at the KenPom ratings, if you look at this, you got Mississippi State down here and Baylor ahead of them. So hey, also Baylor's a 9 seed, Mississippi State's an 8 seed. So believe it or not, 9 seeds beat 8 seeds 52% of the time. So based on KenPom ratings and based on the 52% history, I'm going to go with Baylor in this one. Oregon Liberty. Hey, this would have been more competitive if Oregon wasn't shipped out to Seattle. So I mean, so they're in their own time zone. Liberty's going to have that body clock situation going. I like Oregon because, and not only that, Oregon plays great come NCAA time. Arizona, hey, I love Arizona. Arizona's burnt the calculator. A couple years ago, I think it was 2 years ago when I had to go on my hole because I had Arizona winning it all that year, and they went out in the second round. But yeah, I think they'll still be too much for the Zips. BYU, hey folks, this is a fascinating situation because when you look at KenPom ratings, BYU 24th, and VCU's right behind them, with 20.6. So this is very close. But believe it or not, Mr. 4-1, even though it's 50-50, there is no game theory, in my opinion, on this. People are picking VCU 50% of the time. People pick BYU 50% of the time. So you know what I am going to use the tiebreaker, Mr. 4-1. They are playing in Denver, Colorado. Denver, Colorado is altitude. Well, where does BYU play its home game? Provo, Utah, at altitude. I'm going to go a team that is on the same environment. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Word on the street. I do have some contacts out in the Utah area. The BYU is going to be traveling en masse to this game since it's in Denver, Colorado. Hey, it's a Mormon school. A lot of Mormons in Denver, Colorado as well. So they'll be traveling to the game as well. So altitude, mass, and it's 50-50. So I'm just going to go with the team I think is going to win. And that's the team, in my opinion, with the higher KenPom ratings. Got to go with BYU there. Just there's other factors to break the tie, and that's where I'm going. Even though VCU, great year. Don't get me wrong, but BYU, they play a frenetic pace. And hey, folks, if you didn't remember, they were number 2 overall in the Big East this year, or not the Big 12. Pretty good conference, I've heard. But yeah, BYU is a good team. If they hadn't run in a buzzsaw of Houston like a lot of teams, we're a chance to win the title. But again, a lot of teams fell to the Houston buzzsaw in the Big 12 tournament. Wisconsin, Montana. Do not like Wisconsin, but I like them against Montana. So. Wisconsin showed me a lot. Folks, all you need to know about Wisconsin in a bracket where it's one and done, Wisconsin lost to Penn State at home at Wisconsin. If you can lose to Penn State, which was statistically the worst team in the Big Ten this year, you can lose to anybody. Hey, not going to lose to Montana, but we'll see if it's going to bite them later on in my eyes. St. Mary's, Vandy. St. Mary's been very disappointing. In for some reason they do not like the NCAA tournament. Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt's one of those SEC teams that, like Georgia, good at home, not good on the road. This is a road game. I'm going with St. Mary's because, believe it or not, this will be one of the few SEC teams that St. Mary's can actually match up with rebounding, because St. Mary's got a big guy in the middle. That's what gave Gonzaga fits with the
Right, they usually do. Yeah, they usually give Gonzaga a tough time.
Yeah, so I'm going with St. Mary's on this one just because I think they match up well against Vandy. And again, there's really no advantage game theory wise in this one. It's pretty much a 50-50 split on this one as well. So I'm just going to go with the team I think is better on this. Alabama, hey, not going to spend much time on this. Alabama. All right, hey, we're going almost all chalk here, but hey, Duke. Again, no explanation. most talented team in the country. Oregon, Arizona. Hey, we got what is this? A Pac-10 throwback, Mr. 4-1. You got two teams. I mean, they went from the old Pac-12 to the Big Ten now. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Hey, you can't get rid of them. So but yeah. I know Bill Walton is smiling somewhere
Oh
else.
yeah.
Watching because he loved. Hey, let me tell you that just quick over. I used to love watching Pac-12 late night games with Bill Walton making the call. The man was an iconic announcer. Loved him, fun guy. I'm going to miss him. I do miss him now in the Big 12 game. Or well, they're not the Pac-12 anymore, but he loved the Pac-12. So, but hey. I'm just going with what I think is the better team. I think Arizona is the better team. If you look at the KenPom ratings, Arizona, basically they're 14, and Oregon all the way to 31. So big discrepancy KenPom wise. So that's another reason I gotta go with Arizona on this one. BYU, okay, folks. Again, this is where if you look at the KenPom ratings, Wisconsin high up there at 13, BYU 24. Again, I don't think Wisconsin's a good team, but because they can shoot the threes, and this is where a lot of people are going to be picking Wisconsin. And I know I say I'm going to follow the math. Well, I got to stay with the math because even though I think BYU could win this game, there's too many flaws. BYU has to shoot the 3-point. Wisconsin has big guys down low that they can shuffle in for mismatch. They showed that they were able to keep up with the 7-footers for Michigan. So they do have size that they can call in on. So I just think Wisconsin. I got to go with KenPom ratings, even though I think BYU. I'm going to trust KenPom's math on this one. So going Wisconsin on that one. St. Mary's, Alabama. Alabama. They are banged up. Nelson, their all-star power forward, is banged up. But hey, word is today he's 50-50 for the first game, but he's 75 to 80 for the second game. So I think they're not going to need him from Robert Morris. So I think they're going to save him for St. Mary's so they can match up with St. Mary's big guys. Nelson, again, a great power forward. Nelson plays us a no-brainer. Even Nelson doesn't play. I think Sears, the all-world point guard for Alabama, can will them to victory if needed. So Duke, Arizona. I keep saying I'm going to fade Duke here, but or sooner or later, I just can't. Even though everybody's picking Duke, you're not hurting yourself by picking Duke because if you miss out on Duke, everybody's missing out on Duke at this point. So I got to go with Duke and Arizona. Hey, Arizona shows they can play with big boys. That Texas Tech Arizona Big 12 tournament game was phenomenal. So Arizona can play with the big boys, but Duke, again, too talented. It's hard to go in against a future NBA team. It looks like because all those boys can play in the NBA for Duke. These guys are that talented. Wisconsin, Alabama, another chalky pick. I gotta go with Alabama just because this is where Wisconsin's flaws can catch up to them. Because Alabama can beat them on the inside. Alabama can beat them on the outside. Wisconsin, a slow-paced team. Alabama's one of those few teams that can control their pace. I'm not scared to go chalk sometimes. We did early on. We did the regions where 12s would win. It's not going to be in this region. This is going to be all chalky, in my opinion. But again, Duke, Alabama, folks, if you look at the KenPom ratings, Duke, number 1. Alabama, they are number 6. Folks, that's within the error margin. So, folks, I'm going with it. I'm going with Alabama.
You about to do it?
I got to do it. And I'm not doing it just because I don't want a lot of number 1 seeds. I'm doing it because the KenPom ratings, and when I have, at this matchup, we're going to have, who do you think the public's going to be? They're going to be backing Duke 70% to 30% because a lot of people are going to be saying Nelson's hurt. Nelson's not 100%. Well, folks, this will be 3 weeks removed from his injury, so to speak. So even if as the good news I heard, this is when you pick Alabama because hey, once Thursday hits, you got to lock in. So I'm riding the Alabama train, Mr. 401. I'm going to SC. I'm going with SC because you have to make a stance somewhere. If you can go with the masses, and if Duke wins, it'll be like I was last year. I lost a lot because I had to go against UConn because everybody was betting UConn last year. But the only way you're going to win anything, you got to take chances. So that's why I'm going with Alabama to beat Duke to make it to the Final Four. All right, next one. All right, Houston, easy click. Oh, Bulldogs, we said it earlier, Mr. 4-1, so I don't have to explain it. You got to go with the Zags. Hey, if you don't believe me, Ken Palm will tell you, Zags, top 10 in overall Ken Palm ratings. I mean, you look at that offense, strength of schedule, plus, I mean, just great across the board, offensive, defense. I mean, everything looks good for Gonzaga. I got to give him. Ken Palm tells me to get him. Clemson. I don't even got to look at Ken Palm rating because Clemson is. Hey, people, do you remember Clemson last year, Mr. 411? A pretty good team. Well, guess what?
Yeah, they were tough.
All but one person has come back. So not only are they good, they're experienced. So yeah, I like them. Hey, McNisty, this is where the 5. 12 is 5, 12. Hey, we already got our 12 picks out of the way. You're not going to have a 12 seed sweep, in my opinion. Clemson keeps it going. Purdue, High Point, folks, very high scoring team. But when I looked at the Ken Palm, not high enough because Purdue is top 20. But when you got to go down to High Point, and High Point's getting, you see, I'm still scrolling, folks.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, they're behind Lipscomb. So, yeah, even though they can't, it's a chance. I'm not taking that chance. Staying with the chalk. Hey, okay, this one is kind of tricky because you have Illinois, and Illinois, you got Ken Palm loves some Illinois. So even if you have Xavier or Texas, they're not very favorable in the Ken Palm. Xavier and Texas all the way in the 40s. So, hey, Ken Palm says even if the masses choose Illinois, you got to go Illinois at this point. Kentucky, Troy. Hey, Troy can give them a thing. Kentucky's still kind of young, but again, the talent discrepancy is just too much. UCLA, Utah State. Hey, I like Ronan, the coach, as much as anybody. But I think his team kind of can tune him out. He was a great coach, but I think that's why he left Cincinnati. I think he's the Dan Hurley wannabe, so to speak. Guys just he yells at the officials. He's mad because he has to travel cross country. He thought he was disrespected as number 7 seed. Well, all those distractions, it catches up to him, Mr. 411. Oh, don't want to click it yet. Let's go to Ken Palm. What does Ken Palm say? Does Ken Palm? Oh, Ken Palm doesn't like UCLA either, do they? It's like I keep scrolling. Utah State's down there, but Ken Palm says, see UCLA, 27, Utah State. Oh well, sorry folks, I can't do it. It's Ken Palm saving me for myself. I said I'm going to follow the math, Mr. 4-1. So even though I don't like the vibes out of UCLA, I got Ken Palm. That's why I'm using this math, Mr. 4-1. I don't want to use the outside distractions. I don't want to use the gut feeling. That's what got me in trouble 2 years ago, Mr. 4-1. But hey, Dr. Sachs said embrace the math. I'm embracing the math. Okay, Tennessee, that's an easy click right there. Okay, Houston, Gonzaga, this is where the road. Do you want? No, I'm not going to. I love the Zags as much as anybody, but still, even Ken Palm has Houston number 3 overall. So they are still a bigger click on that. So yeah, I think Houston gets it done against the Zags. Clemson and Purdue. Hey, I like them over. This is where Purdue falls. Purdue can be beat on the boards. Like I saw it early on in Texas A&M. I saw them get beat up on the boards against Michigan in their matchups. Clemson has too much offensive firepower. Now they'll play at a slow pace, but even if Clemson's missing shot, I don't see how Purdue can out-rebound them. This ain't your Edey Purdue anymore. But they don't have Zach Edey in there gobbling up things and getting fouls and shooting 15 free throws. Clemson will be able to handle Purdue in this matchup. And actually, I think Purdue was overseeded. I think Michigan should have been the 4 seed here, and I think Purdue should have went out and been the 5 seed against UC San Diego. That's what I would have done if I was the selection committee, but who am I? I'm just an observer, Mr. 411. Illinois and Kentucky, hey, I told you, this is where you got to go. Okay, where's Kentucky on our Ken Palm rating? 16, folks, and Illinois right behind. Coin flip situation. So I did a projection. If this matchup is there, Yahoo, Kentucky. If you do a look forward, they're going to have Kentucky winning this matchup by Joe Public, not analytics. Joe Public going to pick Kentucky at a 62% rate. Well, again, that's where I would do my game theory. They're close enough in KenPom rating for me to get and go and differentiate and go with Illinois on this pick. And Illinois got some players, folks. They got some. Hey, if you don't believe me, hey, we'll do a quick Illinois. They're number 6 seed, right? Illinois, that guy right there, he's good. That's all you need to know. He's you got 6'6" lottery pick, Will Riley, projected first round pick. These guys got some NBA players too, right? So Morez Johnson Jr. He's back from a wrist injury, so hey. They're healthy and coming on at the right time. So this is why I can pick Illinois over Kentucky. UCLA, Utah State, or Tennessee. Hey, again, love the SEC. Well, love the top half of the SEC, I should state. Tennessee, Ziegler's in there, one of the best point guards in the thing. Hey, Roy Barnes, not good in March as far as the NCAA tournament, but I think they got a tough defense and they can score when they need to. So I like Tennessee moving on. Houston, Clemson. Folks, I love Houston. Don't get me wrong. But do I do Clemson? Oh, well, Mr. For one, I want to do Clemson, but guess what? I got to look at the math. No, Clemson's too far down, Mr. 411. I'm staying true to the math. Got to go Houston. It's too big a discrepancy to go against the public on this one. And Illinois, Tennessee, again, I love Tennessee. Hey, I know it's chalk. Again, we always say you get your upsets early on, you get the chalk later. And these are two of the best teams. But hey, when I look at the KenPom ratings, Tennessee and Houston, hey, those look pretty similar, don't you think, Mr. 401? So
yeah,
hey,
absolutely.
Houston plays Tennessee. Guess what? They say Houston, 61% of the public will favor Houston over Tennessee. So game theory, folks, going with Tennessee. Folks, this almost looks like SEC territory. I'm picking all these SEC teams. What is going on? So
You got 3.
I got 3 SEC teams. Hey, Mr. Forward, did we talk a little bit about the SEC early on?
Yeah, 14 of them in the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And 8 years ago, I was banging the drum about this, saying, "Hey, look what they're doing. They had a plan in place,
Hey,
long range
I
plan
give
of
you
building that conference."
I give you all the credit. Hey, I give Cracky gives credit and due. Mr. 401 saw this 8 years ago and it's come to fruition. He says he saw the dominoes lining up, and as they started falling, it all happened today. So yeah, now I mean, there's a reason I picked 3 of that. But folks, I'm not doing it because I'm SEC homer. You saw me, KenPom. Look at all these SEC teams: Florida, Auburn, Tennessee. Hey, KenPom. 3 of the top 4 of the top 4 of the top 6 teams are all SEC teams. So, hey, follow the math. But, hey, I'm not just picking them because I'm following the math. I'm following the math and game theory, folks. I'm fading Duke. I'm fading Houston because Duke and Houston are 2 of the top favored teams to win it all. So that's why I really want to go different. All right, folks, I talked about Auburn, Texas Tech. Folks, if Texas Tech make the Final Four, you're in the money. You want to get even higher in the money? You want to win top 3? Nobody's picking Texas Tech, in my opinion, over Auburn. But, folks, KenPom has Texas Tech 7, Auburn 4. That's within the margin of error. Well, Mr. 4-1, a lot of people, though, see, and this is where it's different. A lot of people is going to have Florida beating Auburn. So I could really reverse the trend and say, I got Texas Tech. They got me my points in fading Florida, right? Well, what if Florida does get there? Auburn's going to have a better chance of beating Florida. So this is my hedge to the Texas Tech pick. If Florida beats Texas Tech, people are picking Florida over Auburn. Am I correct? So, hey, This is where I go with Auburn. They're higher on the KenPom ratings. A lot of people are down on Auburn. Lost 3 of their last 5. Well, folks, I think they were coasting. I'm going with a team that has been one of the superior teams for the first 3 months of the season. I thought, again, they were coasting, in my opinion. This is a team, when they are healthy and all in cylinder, they beat Alabama at Alabama, and they beat them easily. We saw what our Auburn's ceiling. The only team that can compete with Auburn is Duke. Well, guess what? We don't have to worry about that. But later on, Alabama, and I'll bring that up later on. Alabama, Tennessee. We've seen this. This is a rematch of SEC play. Tennessee loves the defense. A healthy Alabama team, picking Alabama. A healthy Alabama with a 80% Nelson. Hey, I think that can give them over the hump with an inexperienced Duke team, because I think that's where Alabama's experience can actually trump the Duke talent at that. And also, again, we're trying to get we used our game theory. Well, I think our game theory is caught up, so now we're just going to go to the better team between Alabama. Let's go to KenPom. Tennessee is higher than Alabama, so that's my tiebreaker, going with Tennessee. And folks, we got the Auburn, Tennessee. I don't think a lot of people are going to have that. I think you're going to have, the Houston. Well, Houston will be playing Duke, and a lot of people are going to have Duke going ahead. A lot of people are going to have Houston going ahead, and I think a lot of people are going to have Florida, because from the early returns I saw, nobody has Auburn going to the finals. Now, a lot of them have them going to the Final Four because of their bracket, but all of them have them losing to either St. John's, believe it or not, Hy-Vee, even though KenPom tells me not to pick them. A lot of people have Florida. If people have Florida going to the Final Four, a lot of people are picking Florida over Auburn. So that's why I kind of want Auburn right here. But hey, let's go to the KenPom ratings. Auburn and Tennessee. What does KenPom say? Auburn ahead of Tennessee. So yeah, look at all those 1, 2, 3s. The top 3 KenPom ratings. Yes, even though KenPom's saying we have to play game theory, I explained it as when I made the pick. So if you don't understand, just go back, rewind our show, Mr. 4-1, to those picks. I tried to explain why I picked the team over a pick. But hey, if it's strictly to Auburn, Tennessee, we've already got our game theory picks. Our KenPom ratings got us this far. Again, I think if we had these two in the finals, we've differentiated ourselves from 90 to 95% of public just to get here. So since I got that already, I'm just going to go Auburn, Mr. 4-1. They were good at the beginning of the year. They were great at the beginning of the year. And I think their falter at the end of the year, Mr. 4-1, I think that benefits people like me and you, Mr. 4-1. Yes, we know a lot of teams likes these hot teams. That's why Michigan, a lot of people love Michigan, even though I love that UC San Diego team. A lot of people, Colorado State, of course, we like Colorado State. That's why we Mr. 4. So we do like a lot of hot teams, but I think this is where we can cash in Auburn. Oh yeah, a little factoid, Mr. 411, on why I'm fading Duke, on why I'm fading Houston. Did you know in the last 19 years, a team that has won their conference tournament and was a top 4 seed, only 3 of those teams that were those top 4 seed advanced to the Final Four. 2 of those teams went to the championship. So history is on our side as well. Even though I think winning the conference tournament, believe it or not, it's that extra game. I think the Auburn actually losing kind of helped them. It helped them rejuvenate, gave Braum some time. And I think the soft region really benefits Auburn this one, because I don't think they'll be tested. I mean, Texas Tech, St. John's, Florida. You don't think Texas Tech's going to be battle tested by the time they make and have to face an Auburn team who's kind of like basically played a preseason tournament, in my opinion. And like I said, I think that's what benefited UConn. We all said UConn had the hard schedule at the end, but a lot of those teams got beat early on. So UConn, those first 3 games were double-digit easy wins, and then they were fresh when they played Illinois. They were fresh when they played Alabama. They were fresh when they played those harder teams. So I think this is what helps Auburn. I do think the soft region, the easy matchups, and I think Texas Tech, that's about it. Tennessee, think of who they're going to Tennessee's going to have to either roll through Houston and then have to play either Alabama or Duke. You don't think Tennessee's going to be tired by the time they play Auburn? Yes. Auburn's easy schedule, and I think them being late on allows us to fade the public and go with a team that I think has the skill to win it all, but I think it's going to have the schedule work in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And calculator, give me these 2 right quick too. Texas Xavier. Just want to make sure we got that.
Oh yeah, Texas. I love.
Okay.
I love Texas again. And let's go to Ken Palm ratings for that. Let's see, Texas and Xavier, right? Well, you can just go straight because when it's Xavier's higher, Mister 411. Okay, I take that back. I'm when it's a coin flip like that, I'm going with Xavier. So in
Okay,
that 11 matchup, take Xavier in that.
Xavier. Okay,
Mhm.
just in case somebody got a friend to wager on that one, and then also the American Mount St. Mary's.
Okay, see, so they're way down here, Mister
Just
One.
keep scrolling.
They,
Can you
they,
flip it?
Okay, American, take American. They're
All
higher.
right.
The two lowest rated Ken Palm teams in the tournament. So yeah, take American in that pick right there.
All right, good deal. Okay. All right, man, man. Wow. Auburn wins it. And you know what? In this sport, basketball, losing, you have more room to lose. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
opportunity to bounce back. And that's what happened with Auburn, right? That late season streak of losses. And you heard the coach. He was very sarcastic about it when he was asked about how does he feel about the team losing games. He's like, hey man, we're in this tough conference. We'll be fine. We'll be
Mhm.
okay. And look what calculator has. Auburn winning it all.
Yeah. Like I said, and folks, if Auburn don't win it all, don't come after me. Come after Kim Palm. And curse game theory because I said to Mr. 41 last year we were thinking about coming on and I said I can't do it, Mr. 4. I'm still scarred from last year. And then that's when I think Mr. 41 reached out to Dr. Sachs and had Dr. Sachs to get me up on the phone, console me, say, hey, guy. And then of course the president of the CTL fan club, Bo, he said he needed
Oh,
a CTL fix. But while college football's off, and I always like to give Bo what he wants, especially since he's again, you got to keep the fan of the CTL fan club, got to keep the president happy, so that he keeps coming back. So Bo, you, Dr. Sachs, I appreciate y'all reaching out to me and getting me fired back up, and Miss One, I appreciate you doing your schedule to get back on. But hey, that's why I said I'm going a different route because I don't like people cursing the calculator. I want people to curse math if it doesn't work out, Mr. 411.
hey, they don't call you the calculator for no reason.
Exactly. We're gonna, like I said, do something different. And that's why I say, and Mr. Four, you saw I caught myself on a couple picks, right? I caught
Yeah,
myself. I was about to say, oh, I don't like the UCLA vibes. I said, oh, whoa, they're way higher than Kim Palm.
you got to go with it. All right.
That's right. Hey, I had to take it back, So, but yeah, and folks, if you want to do research, Kim Palm is a great source. I've been looking at it for the past month, actually, Mr. 41, because it gets updated pretty much after every Saturday. It gets updated after the big slate of games. Kim Palm's hey, the NCAA selection committee does it, so they like Kim Palm as well. So yeah, it's a great resource. So I appreciate Kim Palm putting his stuff, and I also appreciate that he makes it free to the public. It's not something you have to pay for like a lot of sites. Kim Palm's generous enough to make it public, so it's easy to access. So the average player. So what we're here is, hey, I'll give you the Kim Palm ratings, I'll give you the information, but I'm going to give you some game theory behind it too, so you can apply that to your picks. Again, if you're in an office pool, you might want to go, but you might want to back off. Don't fade Duke. Duke is the most talented team in the NCAA. But if you're in a big pool, you got to fade the big teams somewhere, and that's what we did on this show.
Yes, sir. Big shout out to Surge Sports for the simulcast. We are also on Surge Sports.
Mm-hmm.
We're on their network as well, calculator. So we're growing, man. And the calculator, man. Look, you're becoming worldwide, man. People all over the country are wanting to hear from the calculator. Hey, and also, even though we're on Surge Sports, the flagship right now network is 411 Sports World. So
Oh
make sure
yeah.
you go to 411 Sports World Network on YouTube. Just type it all in, 411 Sports World Network on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Because why, calculator? Why should you share?
Sharing is caring, folks. And if you're hey, and we're trying to save you, 3 months of watching college football or college basketball. You don't have to watch every game back in December. We crushed the numbers. We gave you the game theory behind the pick. So we're trying to, make it easy, make life easy on you guys. So yeah. So if you have somebody that just wants a little bit of action, hey, fire up, share this episode with them and let them enjoy it.
Absolutely. All right. We thank everybody for tuning in. Catch the end of the game that's currently going on. We told you it was going to be a nail biter,
Yeah.
and it's right now like a 2 point game. Alabama State has made a comeback, and they're up late in the game with about 3 minutes left in the game. So you can watch the end of that one, and then you can catch that North Carolina game.
Oh,
This is one of the greatest
I'm fired up about it.
what is it? This is one of the greatest nights of first four in
I
history.
mean, and that's the best thing the NCAA could have done was add those extra 4 teams so you could have two almost like blue bloods playing each other. And that's another reason I don't mind. Who's going to tune in more? San Diego State, West Virginia, or San Diego State, North Carolina? Hey, the NCAA is also trying to get eyeballs on it, folks. And so that's another. Hey, you could say, the wampum. You could say Cameron. You could say quad one wins and all that stuff. Hey, they want eyeballs to watch the Blue Bloods. So yes, that's another reason. It's still a business, folks.
That's it. All right. Well, for the calculator, Mr. 401, we will catch you later on Crossing the Lines.
See ya.
This is for you, Bo.